Sports Card Culture podcast number 30 in honor of the best shooter ever, Steph Curry. It's June 22nd.
No, I got to add on to that. I was a little upset we went with Curry. I thought Nolan Ryan might have got the nod, but we do baseball a lot.
The Express, the Ryan Express.
The big train.
The big unit.
No, big train, isn't that Randy Johnson?
No, big units, Johnson, big.
Who's big train?
The
Walter
train
Johnson.
is Walter Johnson.
Walter Johnson, that's right. Is that all he's got is Express?
The Express. I mean, the guy was pretty good.
Yeah,
I actually think he's like
he's got like 5 or 6.
I think he's literally the all-time leader in WAR in history.
Or Nolan Ryan?
No, Walter Johnson.
Oh, Walter, yeah. Well, I mean, that's what happens when you pitch every inning.
Yeah, every inning for 18 years straight, and and throw a lot of shutouts. So anyway,
all right, what do you want to get in first? We didn't do a rundown. You got some stories.
No, I don't want to get.
You want to get in the stories?
I want to talk Nets Bucks, man.
I'm very happy with the outcome.
Well, I'm sure. I was telling a bunch of guys. The sad thing for me is that shot by Kevin Durant will not be appreciated for what it was.
It won't.
It was the clutchest shot I've seen since Jordan.
What is that game 6?
Yeah, the game 6 walk-off with Utah. So think about this. Durant set a record, most points ever scored in a Game 7. And everyone's like, oh, Jordan didn't. No, Jordan played a lot of Game 7s, not in the finals.
No.
He lost Game 7s in, I think the Cavs beat him in 7 before he won their first one. Yep, right away. So he scored 48. Durant scored 48 points, hit what was literally an inch from being a game-winning 3 to win a series.
I saw a picture of his feet without shoes on.
Yeah.
He was clown feet.
Yeah.
Just straight up clown feet. Like I'm going to a point where I don't know how he can run.
Yeah.
Like it's so long. I don't know.
But when you're 7 feet, if you don't have that long of feet.
Yeah, right. But like Kevin Garnett is 6'11".
Yep. He's got
size gamer
15.
Then he has size 15 feet.
Yeah, what are Durant 17s or something?
17s, yeah. No,
Shaq's
Shaq were like 23s, right? But Shaq Durant's feet are long and skinny, right? Where Shaq was just a massive foot. Like I can understand that.
Yeah.
I can't understand the little duck. I mean, I don't even know what animal would have like that.
All I can say is it always is disappointing for me in the playoffs when a team wins because of injuries, like when the Raptors beat the Warriors because Clay and Durant were hurt. You know what I mean? It's always a bummer because you're like, I want to see two teams at full strength and actually see who's the
nature of championships is nobody remembers anything.
Well, how much do you think this relates to the quick turnaround everyone's been talking about, the shorter break between last offseason and this season?
Nothing. LeBron James just crying. I mean,
yeah, but other people have said something. I mean, look at all the injuries. Kawhi Leonard's hurt. Jamal Murray got hurt for the year. You don't have one star. You have 8. You have 8 of the biggest stars hurt.
Okay, so only the stars get hurt and all the crappy players are just fine?
Well, no, they play more minutes. They play more minutes. So, Durant played 53 minutes last 2 games.
Every preseason football, we shouldn't play preseason. Look at the star that got hurt. Mm-hmm. Then we shouldn't play spring training because you're doing athletic activity where you're running and jumping and sliding and all sorts of stuff. It's like, is that a thing that you get hurt because you don't have longer than 6 weeks to no one possible. That's awesome.
What is it?
Wander is it first at bat? I knew that was gonna second at bat. I told Max today I think Wander's going to hit a home run in his first at bat. It was just a second at bat, no big deal. Which, by the way, so I've been, not to cut you off, but that's hilarious. I have a Wander Franco, my Bowman Chrome PSA 9, as a giveaway on TikTok to get us to 1,000 subscribers.
Nice.
And so I went from, I talked about it in previous podcasts. We go to Dell's. I got 142 followers. I don't know. Well, it was a couple podcasts ago, and I accidentally figured out something that people like, and now I'm up to 849.
Wow!
And so
it's a huge.
If we can get to 1,000, which we should, right?
Yeah.
Because I picked up 40 today.
Yep.
We can go live every night from the National.
Yeah.
On TikTok instead of on YouTube.
Nice.
Although that doesn't mean you shouldn't subscribe to YouTube. But so that's pretty cool. I'm real excited about that. And so hopefully that Wander home run. And I'm sitting on a couple grand worth So,
The question
I'd
is
like
when.
to
The
move.
question is when's the sell for Wander?
I mean, I'm probably holding for national. Because if he was hitting like 334 in the minors.
Rays are good too. There.
Yeah, and they're winning. And so by the time, beginning of August rolls around, if the Rays are still in
Why
first
did they
place,
wait this long to bring him up?
They had good middle infielders. They traded away one, but then there were two other middle infield prospects that were actually having a better year than he was. The Rays are just falling over into
Talent.
prospects.
They have a
right?
lot of talent, like a Rosarena and those guys that just.
Yeah, it's like
and last
that,
year they went
it's
deep.
like
already.
that time you tripped down a curb, and then when you fell, there was a Jordan rookie in the grass, and you're like, I wouldn't have saw that had I not.
Had I not tripped.
You just run into.
Well,
stuff.
and then
Rays do that.
you rolled over and just got rained down
Yeah.
on cash on you. And you're like, oh, wow, that's nice.
Right, yeah, so that's awesome, dude. I'm obviously I'm a big Wander fan. I bought in really heavy for me, relatively heavy for dealer.
Oh, you took a position for
took a position on him. I was really surprised it took this long to call him up though.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of wondering. I didn't know if it was a contract-related deal or
Yeah,
They were winning. They were winning without him. Yeah.
So now he's a little shot in the arm kind of thing.
Of course, too. You want him to get some at bats under his belt before the playoffs. You don't want to call him up right before the playoffs, then get called up and now have to perform on the biggest stage. That's not the way that works, So, and baseball is one of those things where the players need repetition and day in, day out.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't even call them up like 3 weeks before the playoffs. That's not enough time. You need a month. You need 6 weeks. You need 8 weeks, almost 2 months. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, I'm getting a feel for every day, starting out the game. I've read that a lot over.
I have a bunch of
30 years.
Wanders in my in the safe that I don't even have listed. That
What are they?
I have a Camel Bowman first PSA 10. I have a green Bowman.
Camo. What is that number to?
It's not numbered.
Not numbered?
Not numbered.
I don't even see camo.
Retail.
Oh,
But then I
retail,
have a
okay.
green numbered to 99 BGS 95.
Oh, a first?
Yep. And
Very
then I
nice.
have a couple other I want to say like Bowman's Best Refractor.
Yeah, I think he's hitting well.
I don't have any autos, but
If he's hitting well, there's no reason why he shouldn't. National's a great time to sell.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, there's
he's had the hype
a lot
forever,
more
yeah.
upside if he has if he's Wander and he has a Randy Rosarena playoff. Then of course he sold too soon.
Yeah.
But you can't.
The
Kind of like what we were talking about. You can't predict that.
But the
It's kinda
cool part
like
is
Devin Booker.
the cool part is he's more likely to be in the playoffs than even Mike Trout because
Yes.
the team's that much better. So
absolutely.
how good is that for a prospect?
Right.
Usually a prospect,
Not a bad
is on
team.
a bad team,
Yeah.
right? So it happens to be that Tampa has built a team around a bunch of kind of no-namers.
Yeah,
really.
and Meadows is playing. Is he still playing pretty good, or has he fallen off a little bit? Maybe a little bit.
Starter,
So that's pretty good.
So,
we were talking
back to the NBA.
Devin Booker.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that real quick because that kind of ties into what I just said about.
Right.
You can't bank on something.
Yeah, Devin Booker, I think, is having probably the breakout of the playoffs just because I think the Suns, they had a really good record, but people were like, are they really good or is it just the product of a weird NBA regular season with a lot of injuries? And then obviously they took care of, the Lakers right away.
Right.
So, yeah, we were talking about the Dells when we were there. There was that one trade night where two young college kids had a bunch of cards. One of them was an Orange Prism 2015 Booker Rookie PSA 10. And at the time, I think they were selling for about $500, and they wanted $600. I was like, you want more than comps? Like,
Right,
who
right.
does?
How dare they?
Yeah, how dare they? They're like, no, playoffs.
Yeah.
And we just looked that card up. The last 4 or 5 sales are at $3,500.
3,500.
So
So
that's a
again,
card
what I
that's-
said was, had they not beaten the Lakers, that
Right.
card would be $500.
Yes.
Right. And so you can't get
Can't
too
bank
worked
on it.
up over I knew Booker was going. I knew they were going to win. Booker was going to be a star.
DeAndre Ayton
So we're
with a
watching
huge
the
alley-oop.
Phoenix Clippers game right now.
So here's the thing about Booker. I think about that card.
Yeah.
Yes, if they get knocked out in the playoffs this year, it's only $500. But they have such a good young core.
Yeah.
They have the number 1 overall pick, Ayton from 2 years ago.
No, absolutely.
They have
Why
some
is
really good pieces around him. They got guys who
I don't
they have a
understand
deep team.
why
Yeah.
Ayton's not better.
He's good.
I
He's
mean,
really
he's
good.
playing well. I'm not
Yeah.
saying he's not, but I thought he would be like
still
the
good.
young LeBron of the league.
He was injured for part of this season. He's battled injuries both years, I want to say, for
Oh,
parts.
so it's an injury thing.
But now, I mean, with Chris Paul, so Chris Paul is actually out, and they're
Yeah.
they're still
They
playing
might
as well
be
there.
back. I read an article. Apparently he's symptom free.
Yeah.
And so it looks
So
like
so the
he'll be
weird.
back.
Here's my question for you then. What do you think about Atlanta? So we go from like the Nets are the team. I don't think anyone doubts if the Nets are healthy, they roll through Milwaukee.
Probably.
Like they go 7. They played 2 games without Kyrie or Harden, and then they played the last 2 games with literally he had a grade 2 hamstring sprain. Harden
Wow.
did. He was literally going like
Oh,
60%.
No, Harden was atrocious.
He was awful,
Yeah.
and to be honest, they put him out there because they're like him passing and being a decoy. He made free
I don't know if
throws.
he was that much of a decoy though. I mean, he was just.
He hit a couple threes, but no, he shot terrible. And to be honest, though, the most disappointing thing about the entire Nets series to me was not the injuries.
Mm-hmm.
It was the fact that once those injuries happened, they needed Joe Harris to step up, and
Yeah.
he literally shot, I think we did the math, I think he shot 22% from 3.
Wow.
On the season, he shot 48%.
Right,
So if he
right.
shoots,
Yeah.
let's say he
Well,
shoots
and
30.
by the way, one shot, they win.
He literally
shot, yeah.
he missed a shot in game 1 to win. He missed multiple shots in game 6 and 7 to either take the lead or literally build a substantial lead, and he couldn't make one of them. And it was just like
what's cool about that
so
game 7
disappointing.
is I'm normally working at my desk while a big game's on, and I completely missed the moment
Yeah.
because I'm just working.
Yeah.
But on this game, I look up and there was 3 minutes left. I'm like, nope. Put everything to the side, and I just watched the rest of that game. So
What a
I was
finish.
happy I actually saw that Durant shot. I was like, no, and then because I want my $20, which
Obviously.
by the way, Clint has paid,
I did.
and so he
Good
did
for
that well. Showed that.
The disappointing thing was in the overtime, the Nets scored 2 points. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
well,
like
they
you
were
just
1 for 8
Yeah, I
to start
know.
out overtime.
and
They kept getting those weird
I didn't
rebounds.
love Nash's rotation. He played literally Harden and Durant played the entire game, and I
Yeah.
just think that's you set yourself up there like
Well,
for that kind of a
Harden
letdown.
is hurt. That's weird that
I know.
he never got a rest the whole game.
I don't think he rested the
I
whole
didn't
game.
realize that.
Shamit didn't play hardly at all. Jeff Green didn't play at
Yeah,
all.
you can put Shamit in there.
Claxton played like 0.7 seconds. He guarded one inbound pass. That was it. Like literally, that was all he did. It's like, so he guarded the inbound on that last shot that
Yeah.
Giannis put over the backboard or Brook Lopez or whoever. But
Yeah, they're
so I
talking
mean,
about Giannis too, game 6, and they're talking about how he was shooting too many threes,
yeah,
and then that he just needed to drive. And I was watching game 7. That's what he was
And
doing.
that's what he was doing.
He wasn't taking.
So
those
we have
crazy shots.
so we have Milwaukee and Atlanta,
Yeah.
the Suns and the Clippers. Literally 4 teams haven't been to a finals in none of these teams have won since '73.
Who are you rooting for? Not who do you think gonna win? Who do you what do you want to see? I know I want to see Suns. I don't like the Clippers for whatever reason.
I like Kawhi, and
Man.
I'm really disappointed that he's hurt. So now I'm like, I don't really care about them that much.
I
apart
do
from
want
them.
Terrence Mann to go crazy because I'm sitting on a optic red to 99.
It's all John's
So if
cards.
Clippers
Whatever
can
John's
lose,
cards
but
says.
Man can score 50 a game, I'll be happy with that. It all goes back to what I'm holding.
This is a great question. Who do I want?
Suns. I like the Suns. I think that's a good team.
I would like a
And Bucks,
like a Suns Milwaukee
yeah.
because I think that has the best chance to go 7. And
Right.
I love when you get to see a finals game 7. I mean, there's nothing bigger in sports
Right.
than game 7 finals. So
I like the fact that it's two just new teams.
yeah,
in
two
the game.
two fan bases like Minnesota
Oh, yeah.
that have just been desperate for winning.
And we
you know?
talked about this before. Is that fan base can hold on to that championship for decades.
Yeah.
We still talk about 91.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I bring up 91 twice a month.
Right. Yeah.
Been a while.
It's been a
little
while.
bit, you
And
know?
to your point about the shows that are coming up, I think Milwaukee, if I was
Yeah.
going to say selfishly, Milwaukee probably, because it has the most direct correlation to our businesses as
And
far
not
as,
only that,
you
there's
know.
plenty of people in Wisconsin that live in Minnesota who are our customers.
Yep.
Might not want to admit that they're Bucks fans, but now they will.
Now they will. Yeah.
You
And to the
know,
Bucks,
looking-
to give the Bucks credit, Middleton and Drew Holiday hit some really big
I
shots
really
down
like
the stretch.
Middleton a lot.
Middleton played very, very well. I didn't know if they could
I
be.
think I asked you about him. on
Yeah,
the
I didn't
podcast.
know if they could be the support to be a legitimate 2 and 3, and they down the stretch.
No.
I think actually Drew Holiday hit 2 huge buckets. I think he had two buckets in the last 3 minutes
Middleton
of
had a
regulation.
big one in Game 7.
Yep.
Right at the end.
Right at the end.
I
He
remember that.
had the one that took the lead for
Okay,
them.
that's
Yes.
what it was.
And then Durant hit the shot to tie after the Middleton shot, I think, and so it was back. It was fun back and forth. I mean, I personally, as everyone has heard on this, I love Kevin Durant. I still think he's the best player in the world. I think he proved it. It's a bummer for me to not see him advance. And think about this: if it wasn't for injuries, Durant should have 4 rings, really. I mean,
No,
he
fair.
should.
Well,
I mean, if Clay or him don't get hurt with Golden State, they win.
By the way, I gotta give you a big public thank you. So you call me. Well, you called me the day before we got into a spat.
No.
Then you call me the next day, and you give me a heads up. So
about the show.
the Southern Party at the National, which, by the way, it's this awesome party.
It's one of the greatest.
So I want to tell a
events of
story
the
about the
year.
first Southern Party.
Yeah.
So you in 2017, it's your first National. I come
Yep.
with you, and I'm talking to my college roommate Lockheed. What up, Lockheed?
What up, bro?
And he's like, where you at? And I'm like, I'm in Chicago. I'm at the National. He's like, all right, I'll come see you.
Just flies in.
Because he works for the airlines. He just hops on a plane.
Yeah.
And so he shows up. So we're having a good time. That was the night of the Southern Party.
Yeah.
Southern is
Friday night.
distributor of steel product.
Yep.
And they have a party when it's in Chicago.
Because that's one of
That's one of their
headquarters.
right,
They have a few different
distribution hubs.
centers. Yep.
Yeah. And so, you're like, oh, there's a party over there. I'm like, all right, like, I don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
So you were wrapping up the table. You said, hey, go grab, I don't even think you even said that because we didn't even know what it was going to be.
Yeah.
And so me and Lockheed, we go over there, and I haven't seen him in 4 years maybe. So, we're getting acquainted again. And so we go into this cool restaurant, and we were late. Right, you were really late. We were late.
Yeah.
And they had already done the food thing, and they're like, "Oh, we'll just bring you, whatever." And I go, "Oh, cool! Like, all right."
All you can eat.
We're sitting at the table, and they're bringing us like sliders. Like the food's really good there,
Yeah.
and we're just eating. All of a sudden, I'm talking to them about something. Right, I'm eating. All of a sudden, like 7 packs of cards go sliding across the table.
Just a bunch of miscellaneous sports.
I'm like, what the.
What world?
What
is
just
it?
happened?
Yeah, what?
Like, I don't understand. And I look back, and there's this woman. She's just dumping packs of cards on everybody's table.
I love it.
And I'm going, I think we can open these.
The hard part is like they're giving us food we need to eat with our hands,
but
and they give us
we're
packs of cards.
busting
We're
these
like,
packs.
how does
We're
this
busting
work?
these packs, and I go to Lucky. I go, this is the greatest party I've ever been to in my life.
And it was unlimited drinks, and then the dessert kept rolling, and
Oh,
then
dude,
the
everything
giveaways.
was
And
so good. And then,
by the way, do you remember the card that got pulled behind us, next to us at that show?
no, that's the first one.
So that first year,
Okay.
the table behind us, they're like, oh, they start going nuts. They get it, and these are all dealers. So like,
I'm
like
starting to remember this, but what was the card?
Lionel Messi 101 auto
That's right.
out of a free pack.
Right.
I don't know what that would be worth now. At the time, they're like, I think it's like $1,000. I bet now it's 5,000.
What was cool there?
A Messi 101 auto came out of
Oh,
a
yeah.
free pack.
But what was cool there too is like they broke a case of Topps Chrome baseball like 4 days before it came out,
Right.
and you were in the you're
Oh yeah,
you're
they
part
were
of
doing the
group
case break. Yep.
and then you had the athletics, and I was looking up like who was in the checklist, and you actually end up hitting an auto like 4 days before it came out.
Oh yeah, it was Ryan
was it
Healy.
Ryan Healy?
Ryan
Yeah,
Healy.
yeah,
We had
Ryan
a couple.
Healy.
Yeah, a couple Ryan Healey's.
And so that was fun, and then of course 19 I went again.
Yeah.
That we're getting. They didn't have those chocolate things, so it really irritated me.
Oh, the desserts.
The
Dessert balls.
The desserts were great, but they had this weird chocolate ball thing the first.
It was like a
first
deep
time.
fried like.
And I go, you got those again? He's like, sorry. I'm like,
You know what they remind me of? The Taco Bell Cinnabon dessert
wow,
deals. Those are
and
so
1,000 times better.
Those are really, really good.
So anyway, I contact my rep. I'm like, what's up? I don't ask for things. I never have, right?
Yeah.
And I call up
Raleigh.
my rep, and I go, so what's up? Can I get an invite to this thing? Like, I wasn't gonna be shy about it.
Yeah.
And so I get into the store today,
Yeah.
and he said, I'll send you an email. I have an email. I call him back. I'm like, what's up with the invite? Like, this is not stuff I do.
Yeah.
And he's like, I sent it to you. And so it was in my junk folder.
Yep.
And so, thank you.
Yes.
I appreciate
So
it.
you got
We're going to have a great time.
Oh, it's going to be a
Southern
party. Yeah, it's going to be a treat, man.
But one of the things, too, is I want to make sure Max gets to go. I mean, what a great
rewarding
perk
Yes.
for him doing all this good work is
for sure.
Is that he can go to this crazy thing at that age, and like that's worth. What do you think going to that party is worth in dollars to a 13-year-old? Like
$200,
$1,000
$300 easily.
I mean, right?
I mean, I bet they pay over $200 a person for food, drinks, and
probably.
everything, products, all the giveaways.
Yeah, because they do the.
I bet
giveaway
it costs
stuff,
them $50,000 or something.
But again, like I'm probably a guppy in there. I've spent $100,000 with them.
Yeah.
And third of last year to now.
And
I don't even get
there's definitely brick and mortars, but there's also some breakers, I think, there too that get invited. I think anybody who's buying a significant
well, it's brick and
amount
mortar, and then there's probably a couple breakers that sneak in.
Yeah.
That they're like, I did order $2 million from you this year.
Which, by the way, famous line from Bradley, Mike's son. What up, Mike?
What up, Mike?
We still got to get Mike on one of these episodes. I keep telling him, he's like, it's too late, man. You guys start at 8 recording? He's like, so Bradley's
Sorry, old man.
Bradley's
Start at 8.
famous line is the week of the Nationals is the best week of the year. It's the best week of the year.
The best week of the year.
These guys are so
what's
excited.
Cool about it,
it's the best week of the year.
The trip down is fun.
Mm-hmm.
Usually like,
it doesn't feel as much like work.
Right.
It's a
and
week
I
of.
drove down there the 2 other times, and we had a good time talking. And then last time Uncle Dan came and met somebody new, and that was a fun conversation. And then we set up, and it's all the excitement. And probably the worst part is like Saturday. Like noon, and you got 800 people at your table, and you're making money, but you're like, God, I'm tired.
Yeah, you're like, we've already put in like 50 hours,
Right.
and we still have 2 full
days.
Got the biggest
day to
you
go.
still got the biggest day,
Right.
and you still got to pack up and drive home.
Right, and so the one little tip: if you ever go with a dealer and you help them out, and you have room to get back, the floor is littered in monster boxes and shoe boxes. You can probably pick up $400 or $500 worth of shoe boxes.
Used shoe boxes.
I thought some that looked like they're
pretty much
brand new.
Yeah,
they just didn't want to bring them back. But that's the trick, though. You gotta have the space.
You gotta have the space.
So.
So we'll hopefully have some, but
Thank you for the heads up, Clint.
You're welcome. So first story, I got a couple stories. I'm gonna start with the good one first, the enjoyable one.
All right. I didn't think that's the way it was gonna go.
We're gonna start with the fun one. So this week we actually had.
And by the way, I haven't heard this story, so.
So this is literally our weekly conversation. I had the record sale for us in the store all time.
Okay.
Single card. So customer comes in a couple months ago. Found a 2-row box in his closet. Found an SP Authentic Brady Rookie.
Sure.
They're numbered to 1250.
Which would have been a nice card or a nothing card, depending on when you
card.
put it away.
When it got put away, it was not even top loaded. It was penny sleeved. He said though. So.
No, penny sleeve, dude.
Penny sleeved was
enough. If you put a card in a penny sleeve and you put it in a box and you don't touch it, it's just fine.
Oh, it's just fine. Yeah. As long as someone's not fingering through it all the time, like buying things.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you put penny sleeve cards at a show, the top of them get hammered.
Right.
So we send it into Grade on Express. I get an email a week and a half ago that they upcharge it to $1,000. It got a PSA 9.
Oh, nice.
So
this is a base SP Authentic.
Base SP Authentic. It's his second.
Numbered 1250.
Yep. It's his second biggest card behind the contenders, basically.
Yeah.
A PSA 10 on this card sells for like $150,000.
Is there parallel in that set?
No, they're all base.
Okay.
Yep. And it's. I think the SP. Like the quality of the card is kind of what's brought it to that point, because there's definitely cards that are shorter printed that don't demand the money.
The Authentic card is beautiful.
It's the white,
bright white. Yeah.
He's in Patriots gear, a bunch of his other numbered ones. He's still in Wolverine, so that's part of it.
And it was the set. I mean, we talked about the Durant second year, but it was the premier prestigious set.
It was the most expensive box, probably too, right?
Oh, absolutely.
They're more expensive than contenders.
Yeah, I mean, I think. I don't know if Ultimate Collection and that stuff was even out yet. I don't know when that started.
He has an SPX card too, which SPX was high end.
Yeah, but SP Authentic was better. Yeah, SP Authentic.
And the SPX is numbered to like 1,500, so there's a little bit rare. So card gets a 9. So I start shopping around to see if we can find a sale for it before we bought it, just so I know kind of where we're working. And so we got an offer on it through Jeremy helped us sell it. So what up, Jeremy? Thanks, Jeremy. We hooked him up. But we sold that card for $27,000 last week. So we got it shipped. We got paid, and it was pretty fun. So that was cool, man, to see a Brady card on that level. Where when our customer came in and was ready to sell it, and I told him what I would offer him, his eyes got big. Like the guy literally had maybe $100 in it, or less than that. He had basically the grading. He had essentially the grading, maybe $5.
Right.
And
I bought the pack.
And I remember
bought more than one pack.
getting to hand him, $22,000 cash. He was just like, I'm
Dude,
like, I gotta get a picture of you with
that's
this.
awesome.
He just was thrilled. He was like, I can't pass.
But no, it's
this.
funny. They bring up the Brady. Our friend Trevor stopped by today. I dropped some stuff off for K-Bed. So what had happened was, at the end of the Dallas show, Trevor had stopped by to look at some of my bulk stuff because he likes trash.
Yep, he does.
Just like garbage.
Yep.
And so he's like, these are his words, not mine.
Yeah.
Like I got some garbage and some crap that So we ended up talking. We were talking, like, I was packing up, but like one of the reasons why I left Dallas so late to start driving home, I was talking to Trevor.
Yeah.
And we were having a good time, getting to know each other. Apparently, I had met him like twice before.
Oh, I'm sure
at
he's
your
at
shop,
every Bloomington
But like,
show
I
too.
never engaged in a conversation with him.
Mm-hmm.
So he's a nice guy, and he told me about
The Brady has
the
to
Brady,
25.
the Quantum Leaf.
I keep trying to buy
And
it from him.
he said that you keep annoying him about the.
I
card.
try to annoy him by offering him money. Yeah, I know.
Right.
It's
And
annoying
so-
to be offered.
So
money,
he
I know.
goes,
I get
I go.
If that's the way somebody wants to annoy me, go ahead.
No, but he
please.
says first he said he brought it to Jeremy, right? And so he sort of had a hierarchy of who gets to buy the card.
Wow.
And so he said the hierarchy is Jeremy's first,
Yep.
everybody else is second, and you're third.
Oh, nice.
And I
Thanks.
go, well, how do I get in front of Clint? He goes, you're already in front of Clint.
Everyone
You're everybody else.
You're everybody else.
So this is a Quantum Leaf Infinity Green to 75. He says it's not
70,
70, but we
75.
looked it up at 75. It's but the problem is, have you seen it?
I've seen him
How
online.
badly is it chipped? Because that was a
I never
horrible
saw
card.
the actual card.
Oh, okay.
But I know of the card.
I
and-
remember busting packs from Kmart of Quantum Leaf, right?
Yeah.
I pulled the Chad.
Quantum Leafs were the worst condition Brady
Chad
card.
Pennington rookie. That's me. What's up, right?
Nice.
And that was I thought I was like jackpot. But like you would open a
At the time it
pack,
was.
you would open a pack and dust would come out of the pack. It was just atrocious.
The
right?
way the cards were, like, whatever they used to foil them, it didn't.
And it was the backs too.
It
that
flaked.
Were bad. And
So the regular Quantum Leaf is blue, and we regularly grade them for customers, and
Yeah.
they get like 7s.
And
Like
by the
7s
way-
are like
by the way,
standard on
when
that
I
card.
looked it up, there are Brady 10s. I don't know how.
Wow.
I know this is one of those sets where I don't even know how that happened.
Right.
Because every pack.
Because
we
even
open
right
was
now,
like-
if you had an unopened box, you wouldn't get 10s.
No, you
because they're
wouldn't.
going to be stuck together.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
not
not
sure.
even stuck together, but let's say you open any if you gave me 100 boxes
Yeah.
and you said there's a Brady in each one of these boxes, open it up, how many 10s are you getting? I'm going with 0.
Yeah.
Like it's just that bad. I mean, you look at old Quantum Leaf from 2000, it's just horrible. You know? So yeah, I just thought it was funny that you're
That
last.
is really funny. That is funny.
I go. How do I get in front of Clint? Because now I just want to buy it, so then I can just have it, and then have Clint
And then-
walk in
and then
and be
tell
like,
me
"Oh,
what.
you want to see my new card?" And then he's like, "How do I get in front of him?" He's like, "You're everybody else."
I'll be honest. If I was at a little bit different place, I thought about buying that SP Authentic Brady because I think that's top couple investment cards of
Yeah.
Brady's.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
And they
And a
hit
9
and
on
they
it.
hit as high as we sold it for 27,000 partly because there was a couple other guys around the country that have them that
No.
said they would sell them for less than that if
Okay.
we wanted one that aren't listed.
Mhm.
There's only 2 listed on eBay. I think the last comp was 34,000 though, but it
And
was
what-
back
what-
in March.
Have you
or
seen any
April.
10?
Yeah,
you
10
know
just
what they
a
go
10
for?
just sold from Heritage for 150,000.
Oh, we talked about that. Yeah. How much was it?
150,000.
150. Okay.
So that would have been cool if
Well,
our
yeah,
customer would have hit that. That would have been the biggest card ever.
The weird thing
graded by
about
us.
that, the 9 is actually almost a budget card.
Yeah.
Because 27, if you're late in your career or you're looking for a place to put money,
Yep.
150 is a house.
Yep.
Whereas 27 is a car.
Yep.
And like people buy new cars. I mean, you don't
Yeah.
have to be particularly wealthy to buy a new car, but you
No.
kind of got to be wealthy to buy like a house just for the hell of it.
Yep.
You know, just an extra one off to the side.
Yeah.
Uh,
I
what
wish
we
I
got?
could find a house for
29,
150
23
actually.
Phoenix. But so all right, so you want to get into the worst one or the second, or are they equally bad?
Let's ease into it. We'll start with the first one of the day. So
Alright.
you guys are familiar with catfishing, right? You know what that
Yeah.
is? Like, do you know what that
You
relates
pretend
to
to be
dating?
somebody. And,
Yeah, so like girls have told me about this as I've done internet dating that this is like a real thing that people are constantly having to deal with, right? So I had my first experience with it, though it was related to sports cards. So my buddy Alex,
a
who
sports card catfish. Let's
my
go.
buddy Alex, who runs Triple Diamond Breakers, what up, Alex? He calls me on Friday at the concert. He goes, "Hey, dude, I got an exciting opportunity. This
Okay.
guy in Owatonna, who my buddy knows, has a massive collection. He says he has 5 52 tops mantles, which I'm like, that sounds way too good to be true.
Yeah.
Then he says he has multiple 86 Fleer Jordans with the complete 86 set. That's very, very likely. I mean usually if you have it, you actually have the set.
Steve, what up, Steve? Remember walking into a card shop, told me in 6th grade, and they had like 200 sets for $15 a set. That's not insane.
No, the 86 Fleer sets you could buy at shows for $10.
Yeah, that wasn't a big
$20.
deal.
And then he says, hey, I got a bunch of other like Bird Rookie, Chamberlain, all this stuff. So we're like, he calls me, he goes, dude, this thing could be like, you know, a couple $100,000. You know,
could be 3 years.
He goes, I'm gonna pick you up Monday. We're gonna drive to Owatonna. I go, okay, cool. You got it set up. You've talked to this guy, so. They've been in communication all weekend. He goes, can I get some pictures? And so I tell this story to kind of vent a little bit of my frustration, but to also educate listeners. This is something, I told Alex, I'm like, everybody has to experience these to learn. So we get there. The guy wants to meet us at the Pizza Ranch. I'm like, okay, the Pizza Ranch, whatever. So we get there.
Pizza Ranch. Let's go.
Like, all right, so I guess we're eating Pizza Ranch for lunch. So we get there, and the guy's like, hey, can you guys help me bring cards in? And at this point, Alex gets out to the car. He's like, oh, so which folder or which book has the 86 Fleer? He's like, oh, it's right here.
Yeah.
So we get all the cards in. We're sitting at the table.
Like how
this
many,
guy,
how much cards?
We're talking like 8 binders pretty much full. And a handful of like
top-loaded. It's not a mountain of cards on.
No, but it's, you know, and so at this point, this guy's still going with his lie. Like he's still telling us he has these cards. Then I go, so where are the mantles? He goes, oh, yeah, my brother's got those. I don't have those. Okay. I'm like, okay, so what do you have? I'm like, so where are the 86, Fleers? He goes, oh, well, here's a Jordan, and he hands me a little thing of top loaders with the worst condition 87 Fleer Jordan I've ever seen. It's like a PSA 2.
That's a rookie.
And then he has almost a complete set of the 87 in very, very bad condition. And then after that, we start looking through the rest of the binders, and it's literally 92 Donruss baseball, 87 Topps baseball, 90 score. Then there's like a little bit.
At least have a Bo Jackson.
Then there's a little bit of 21 score football. Like he had opened some retail.
Yeah.
At this point, we're like I look at Alex and he's just like,
no,
what just happened?
How far is Owatonna?
40 minutes.
Okay,
40 minutes each way.
So hour and a half.
So it was a 3-hour ordeal, and we ended up telling the guy like.
It's not cool.
Just so you know, like, if you want to ever get a deal done with us in the future, like, this isn't the way you do it. Like, and he goes, well, I didn't know what I had, and I just want somebody to look at it. Like, no one would come look at his cards.
He came to my store.
Well, what he could have done is he could have actually sent us photos. So my big takeaway is I had an experience like this, John, early on. I had this guy call the shop, first year of business, and he goes, I got thousands of 60s baseball. I'm like, okay, I'm coming. Where's your house? Anoka.
Oh, yeah. That's far from you.
Hour drive from Shakopee. I get there. Old elderly gentleman in his 80s, his wife's there. They got books laid out on the table. I open the first binder, 87 Topps.
87.
And I go, and I ask him, and I go, where are the 60s? He goes, well, right here, and he flips over a Steve Carlton card from 87 Topps. And it has his stats.
Card.
No, it just has his stats starting in 1967, his rookie year.
I thought you were talking about that weird subset at the beginning of the set where they put like the old card.
It
wasn't even that card?
No, it wasn't even that card. It was a base. Well, what happened was
I thought I had it. It was worth.
What you realize is like people who don't know cards don't know how to look up the year of the card. They don't understand like.
He saw 1968 as the first year. So, yeah, but it also had 1969 and 1970 and 71.
I know, but he. So he thought
they knew what was going to happen in the future in '68. Is that?
I don't know what his reasoning was, but his thousands of 60s was basically thousands of 80s and 90s, and so literally it was in a complete waste of drive. So from that point on, when I've gotten a call about that, I said, hey, before I come, can you send me some pictures?
Yeah,
just send me some pictures.
Right?
Because if I see like if that guy,
there's a bunch of 90 Donruss in a box, you'd be like, well, that's.
And the Owatonna guy literally Alex kept asking for pictures. And he kept saying like, "Oh, it'll be worth it. Just come on down. It'll be worth." Like he kept selling them.
Now this has turned into a psychology podcast. So people do this a lot.
I know.
Online on Facebook and stuff. They go, "I have this," and then I'm trying to sell it, and they're not really even trying to scam you. They're just trying to say that they have something.
At some point, he knew the lie was.
What are they getting out of it? That's
what I think what he thought was okay, just because I don't have a rookie, I have a second-year Jordan. If I can get these guys there, they're going to give me a ton of money. Like they're going to pay. Like as though I don't know what they're all,
Do you think people think that if you have? I mean, here's the thing. Like, it'd be one thing to put it on Facebook Marketplace and try to get some room, K-fan thing, a rube to buy it.
Yep.
But like,
you're not pulling
why
one over on
target
a
the
dealer.
expert
Yeah,
in the industry.
that's
I
like,
mean,
yeah.
that's like I can look up. I can open a monster box, and without looking at a single card,
Tell what's in
that's 87 tops, that's 90 Donna, and that's 88 Donna, and close the lid and not look at a single card and just go. There's nothing good in those three sets.
There's
that's
not a
what
single
I can
card.
do.
Yeah, there's not.
That's my superpower, right?
Yeah, it's my superpower. And people are like, "Why you looked at those fast?" I'm like, "Yeah, because there's not a single card in that year."
Well, I mean, and even if there was, so I take 88 tops. There's a Glavin rookie. It's not worth looking at 5,088 tops to pull the 4 Glavin rookies.
No, right.
Because I've already lost money.
Yeah.
But let's say there's 20 Glavin rookies. I've lost money.
I've lost money, yeah.
I mean, because it's going to take me an hour, and they're not worth $20.
Well, and then here's the weirdest part. We're driving back. We're done with this guy.
So how's this conversation going?
He calls me. The guy calls us back. And he goes, and because we told him, like, there's, like, no value. He goes, well, what would you guys do if you were me? I'm like, so first of all, you lied to us. You get us down here. Now you want my counsel on how to sell it. It was a weird. But
did he ever apologize?
No,
I didn't realize this was going to be a thing.
No, he
just kept asking for more then. And then he wanted help.
Yeah, he wanted help. He wanted help the whole time. I think he thought we were going to, like, give him a free education. I mean, I don't know what he thought.
Well, look, man, you can stop by my store, and I'll talk to you for an hour and a half about cars.
I'm just not coming to you. Yeah.
It's free.
Yeah.
Like, free. I do it multiple times a week. And
now,
I'll have an hour conversation about cars.
These are not wasted experiences. Let me say this. I think Alex might have felt worse. He felt bad for me, and I'm like,
but he didn't know either.
I said, you know what I told him? I said, hey, if we go on 20 of these and one of them pays off, it's worth doing all of it. But at the same time, it's also
absolutely.
It's a heads up for people who, I mean, I had a customer the other day. I was grateful he texted me some pictures of some Kobe rookies that this guy wanted to sell him. The guy was asking like PSA 9 pricing for stuff that was like 7, ungraded, raw.
Right.
And I'm just like, thank you for letting me encourage you to not pay that. Because there's people who, they only have a little bit of card experience, and so then they think they can sell raw cards for PSA 9 price.
A lot. That is not a nefarious act.
Not at all.
99 out of 100, because I see that all the time. They come in like, okay,
trying to
so
maximize
I looked this
their
card
deal.
up, and it was $4,000, and I go on eBay in front of them. I go, where are you seeing the $4,000? Like, I could have sworn I saw it. Like maybe they're lying. I don't think they're lying. I think they're telling me the truth. I think they looked somewhere, they saw $4,000, and they went, oh, okay. And I'm going, where did you even see that? Yeah. And I had one. I can't remember what we were looking at, but she said she had multiple hundreds of dollars of cards. I said, yeah, bring them in. Yep. About them in. It was like multiple 50-cent cards.
Yeah.
And she swears, she's like, I was on Amazon, so Amazon might be a problem. I was on Amazon. It said $175 because you can put any price you want on Amazon, just like eBay. I mean, you can do that.
Yep.
But it's looking at actives instead of solds.
Yep.
And it's also the thing too is like people are probably putting in, then they're putting search by high, right?
Yep.
And then all of a sudden the outlier Jose Uribe Fleer is sold for $2,000. Like, oh, okay, I can stop looking. It's at least $2,000.
Right.
Well, it's not.
And this guy even while he was negotiating with us before we got there, before we had seen the cards,
he was trying to negotiate.
Well, he was like, what could I maybe get $10 a card? Do you think for all my? I'm like, $10 a card.
Jordan?
Like, no, just for like. For all of his cards. No, prior.
Yeah, that's not the way.
I mean, he was thinking, and I'm like, the whole per card price thing is not a thing. Like that's not the way we. That's not how you deal with cards because it's 5% contains 95% of the value.
Well,
and then,
one of the things I say is with that, I go on K-Bid.
Yep.
I said, and I got a picture of it. And sometimes it's nice when it's sitting there and it hasn't been picked up yet. I go, you see that lot right there, and it's 5 feet tall and 3 feet wide. And I go, that sold for $125.
Right.
And
so quantity is not
everything. They look at me and I go, and we were happy to get it.
Well,
we're absolutely happy.
You've heard this conversation. I'm sure you've had people standing at the counter looking at boxes and going, "So how many cards are in that box?
Oh yeah.
How many cards are in that box?" And they're thinking, "Well, if I can get more cards for my money, it's got to be better." And then you look at the flawless box and you go, "The flawless box is the most expensive. There's only 10 cards in it." Whereas the score box has 300. Now,
Yeah.
if you're putting a set together and you want to open a bunch of packs,
And
like,
by the way, you can pull a 1-on-1 out of
Yeah.
score, and
Yeah.
that's better than
Yep.
stuff out of sloth.
but value is not determined simply by
Absolutely.
quantity. That's kind of a misnomer that,
I mean, you can have the LeBron James patch that sold for $3.1 million. I'll give you hundreds and thousands of LeBron James cards for it.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. Well,
I mean,
I'll exchange.
you know.
Yeah, I'll give you $1 million cards for it.
Yeah,
How about that?
I mean, okay, let's go.
Okay. Done. Classic.
All right, so let's see if I can break up before the worst story.
Yeah. Jump in.
Here's a fun one. I am in second place in fantasy.
Nice.
So Mark, what up, Mark? He had a guy doing a league.
Fantasy baseball, not
fantasy
basketball.
baseball.
Yeah.
I can't do fantasy basketball to save my life. I don't understand how everything relates to each other.
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard for me. So he put me hooked up with like a couple of his coworkers that are there, and he knows most of the guys, but he doesn't want to play. So now I'm pretty sure the league is mad at Mark because they're like, "Why'd you bring the ringer in here?" You know. So I'm in second place. I had some injuries early on, but I got this just beast of a lineup.
Yeah.
And problem is the way they set
Which
it.
is cool for you because it keeps you connected to baseball.
Oh, absolutely!
Through
I
the
got
season.
to pay attention.
That's
one of the reasons why I play
fantasy, yeah.
fantasy sports now.
I can only do football because I only have set my roster 16 times or
Yeah.
18 times or whatever it is, playoffs. And
So the way it works though is they do it by divisions, and the division leader gets a bye.
Mm-hmm.
The guy in first place is in my division.
Oh, nice.
So it's rough. So, however, that being said, I'm still rocking out. But
When
I
do
have
the playoffs start? How many? Because
3 weeks before the season.
Before the
ends.
season ends.
So what is that? Like last week in August, maybe, or first week.
So you're,
last week in
you're a
August.
little bit past the halfway point, probably,
Yeah,
on the season.
and so, but I've had a man named Byron Buxton who was on fire on my DL. I put him in my starting lineup this morning. I have him in the lineup, and I go and he's all zeros. I go, what's that about? Fractured his hand yesterday, his first game back. You didn't even know that.
I did not.
You
even
should
know
have. You should have had a camera on his face. He's like, "What happened, dude? He got hit by a pitch, right?" And so he got hit by a pitch.
What did his family line do in some previous life?
Oh, dude,
he's got
God
some
is
sort
punishing him.
He's got something over him that's just.
By the way, there's one
weirdest.
thing. There's one thing for you to be born in kind of a bad situation and never have good luck.
Uh-huh.
But what God did to Byron Buxton, he said, "I'm going to give you all the talent in the world, and then I'm not going to let you use it. I'm going to let you show us little
He
flashes of
literally
it."
broke his hand.
Yeah, somebody.
First
And, by the way, wasn't his fault, right? He didn't dive. He didn't run into a. Like Ken Griffey Jr. would get hurt because he'd go after fly ball. And it's like, hey, let it hit off the bag, get the ball. Guy gets the double. That's fine, but you'll still be in the game. And then what was his line? That's not how I play, Skip, or something like that, right? Okay, fine, right?
Yeah.
He just got drilled.
Just
Freaking
like
Byron Buxton.
it's like everything that can go wrong for Byron Buxton has and will. It's
so
like
weird.
literally, he has not had like one stretch run where you're
No.
like, wow.
Not longer than 6 weeks, maybe.
What's the longest he's played?
Probably the beginning of the season, honestly.
Like a month
I
or
want to
two.
say maybe a couple years ago he played for.
Well, no.
over 2 months.
Last year at the end of the season, didn't he go a few months, 3 months at the end of the season?
Okay, maybe it was.
I think he
last year
came
then.
back.
Yeah, there was a stretch where he was there.
He didn't.
No.
Yeah. So even then, he had like a 2-month stretch in the regular season. Then he was.
Unbelievable.
What did he have? He had like a headache or something in the play. I'm just like, I'm like,
probably.
Byron,
Yeah,
like.
sounds like it. No, he's an exciting player. He's
He
fun
is.
to watch. That's part of the reason why we like watching him so much.
Right.
But it's like, oh man, 46-43, son.
Yeah, 2 minutes left in the half. Kind of a low-scoring half, actually, for these two offenses. I mean, I'll say this much: this is a sleeper game. I think the Clippers could take it. The Clippers could
So
take
as
this.
bad as whatever your story is about to be, at least you're not Byron Buxton's hand. Like,
No doubt,
I mean,
man.
don't get me wrong. I'd rather be a millionaire professional baseball player than whatever
Yeah.
the story is. But
Yeah.
but like, come on, man. Know how much hard he worked to get back just to get plunked on the hand? Like,
Yeah.
at least he got me a run yesterday before he.
So the title of this story is going to be The Last Man Standing.
The
That's
Last
what we're gonna
Man
call this. We're gonna
Standing.
call it The
All right.
Last Man Standing. So I get back from being catfished. I drive all the way back from Owatonna.
I just love that you call it a
I
catfish.
walk into the shop, and fortunately, this is the good part of the story. at this point we have like 4 Native American kids from the Treasure Island tribe in the shop,
very cool.
and they just got checks, and so they spent a lot of money. They were ripping like everything they wanted to. Like, I'll take the full size helmet, I'll take the jersey, I'll take the box of car. Like they literally cleared off some inventory in our shelves that had been there for like 6 months, and they spent $3,000-4,000.
There's a few stories about that I had as a teller.
Yeah.
It's kind of sad actually, because it's like,
well, you realize they didn't
buying
earn
another car, and
well,
I'm like, what happened? Like, well, my friend took it and crashed it, and this is the 4th time I heard the story. You know, like it's stuff like that where I'm like, I don't know if that's so great.
It would have been a true statement to say they were spending it like they didn't earn it, because they didn't.
Well, you
and
get a
they're
guaranteed
like,
check
you get a guaranteed check.
month.
Yeah, it's a month. Yeah.
Well,
and then they sometimes, I think, do like another annual kind of bigger check that's
maybe.
apart from the month. There's all. I think some of it goes into like trust funds that they can't touch till they're older too. So anyway, at this point, Mike happens to leave right before one of our employees who was working needed to run to Hy-Vee to fill up. We have a cooler with drinks, and we have candy and some stuff. So every week or two we send him there to redo that. So usually he takes Mike's debit card, and so at this point I give him mine, and he runs up there to run the errands. Well, I get a phone call a few minutes later, and he's at the store. He's like, hey, what's the PIN number? So I give it to him, which at the time I'm like, should I have given it to him? He can run it. You can run it as a credit card too. Right. You don't have to run it as a debit card. So then this is another one of those, like, I literally feel like this is another God thing, like the way this whole thing played out. The fact that I had given him the card that then led me to get the phone call.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I would have been hands off, like it's just a job getting done. I'm focusing on whatever the task is. There was actually 2 collections at the shop at that time. In the middle of this, I'm buying a 2003 Topps Pristine Tom Brady refractor to $99. Raw, they're like $2,000. So I ended up getting that card. So it was so you know what I said is I go, the catfishing was worth it because at least I got to buy this when I got back. I'm like, if we would have drove down there and this was the only card he had, I would have been worth it.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So because you know why it was in one, it's an uncirculated card.
Oh yeah.
That is in that case that they grade well because they're all protected. So
anyway, I my cards out of those cases because I hated the case.
The cases are the worst, and they have those little side snap deals. They're actually hard to get out. So anyway, I get that phone call. I give him my debit card number, and then I proceed.
Why did you question? Like, I don't know what's about to happen, but why didn't you go run into the credit? What's wrong with you?
It was meant to be. I think it was actually meant to be. So at this point, I pull up the Wells Fargo account, and I see this is very convenient of Hy-Vee.
Oh wait!
I see the charge.
Had the phone call, and then you just were like, I'm going to go pull up Wells Fargo?
I'm going to wait a minute, and then I'm going to look at the charge, because it's going to hit the account right away, right?
So you had a feeling.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I pull up the account, and it says, anytime there's a charge at Hy-Vee, it says Hy-Vee, and then when you're running a debit card, you can take cash back at the teller, and then they put Hy-Vee plus cash, and then they put the amount of the cash.
I never do that. I didn't know that.
It could be done. We never do it. Like Mike and I have never done it.
Right. I've never. Yeah.
And so I see it, and I'm like, oh crap.
How much?
$20 or no, $40.
Okay.
And so then I look at it, I'm like, that's not good.
So it's enough where you may not notice.
So I actually call Mike at the time, and I go, Mike, did you ask him to get this is what's going on, whatever. He goes, no. I unknowingly, as I get off the phone, I'm waiting for this gentleman to come back, and I'm going to kind of play dumb and see what happens. Mike ends up just calling him right away and going, what's going on?
You gotta coordinate better.
I know.
Clint.
I know. I didn't assume it, but this ended up working out fine too. So he gets back, and he's like, I pull him aside. There's customers everywhere, and I'm the only one there, but I'm like, we got to talk in the back room.
Right.
And I'm like, what's going on here? And I was pretty direct with him, and he hands me the cash.
There's zero reason to do this.
He hands me the cash. And then I go, can I have the receipt? And he's like, oh, it's in my car. He goes, and then he gets the receipt, and I look at the receipt, and not only did he take $40 in cash off, he bought a bunch of groceries for himself.
Was it enough?
And
okay, so my question.
So the total charge was $155 with the cash. It should have been about $75. So he spent about probably. But then here's the crazy part, John.
So maybe it was not enough for you to completely
I wouldn't have cut
$4,000.
No.
When you're going like, what the hell?
It's
like wow,
$150.
Like, wow, you bought a lot of pop.
Yeah, we bought about double what we normally would.
But you could buy that much pop and candy and go like, oh, I just bought more. And you're like, oh, okay, and
exactly.
Move on. Okay.
So then I asked for his key.
Yeah.
I tell him he can leave.
Yeah.
then I call Mike, and then
Why did they have a key? I thought we had a conversation.
Yeah, he was the only one. Now no one. I know. So
Wow.
so that lasted very short. So, but then the weird part is we pull up the account and we look back through all the charges,
why-
and we go back 6 weeks.
No, you look at Mike and you go, he probably never done it before.
Yeah, it's probably the first time. And every single time
He
there
hit.
was cash with
Yeah,
John,
and you didn't notice.
and I didn't notice.
So he's probably like, oh, sweet.
So literally,
What's up?
had I not used my card and him had to call me for the pin because he had known Mike's pin.
Oh,
I mean,
because you had Mike's card before, and Mike never.
And Mike had already told him, and so I wasn't checking it every time.
Oh yeah.
It was like just the one right place, right time
Was
thing.
he also buying groceries? You think every time too, or do you think he had expanded?
I think he had probably branched out. I think he probably started with some groceries. through some
Yeah, that's what I was
business,
gonna say. I probably, if I'm going to try and do it,
Yeah.
it's going to not be cash right away. It's probably going to be like, I'm gonna buy a bag of Skittles, and then they'll be my Skittles and not the store Skittles, and then
Yeah.
you grow from there. I assume, not right to cash. Although some people are bold. I don't know. So do you have any employees left at this point?
Yeah, we got one guy standing, last man standing.
Last man. Who's last man?
Jason.
Hey, Jason.
Jason,
Don't
thank you.
steal.
Jason, thank you. Thank you
Yeah,
for not.
thanks for not
hoping.
stealing,
Which the
Jason.
weird part to me is I had this
See, they're blatant theft.
I had this very direct conversation with this gentleman
Yeah.
who had been with us for 5 years, longest standing employee. When the last guy got fired for stealing, I sat him down.
Oh,
and I'm
Jason.
like, and I
Jason, I know.
So yep, Jason.
Oh, okay.
But I'm saying,
what's up, Jason?
so I had this conversation with this gentleman about Jake, the previous guy,
Yeah.
and I said, if you steal from us, I literally warned him,
Yeah.
and yet it started after that,
Have you
and I have no idea how much more was stolen.
filed a police report?
No, but I think we're kicking that around.
I mean, you
yeah.
literally have a. Why are you kicking around with the hesitation?
We'll maybe talk about it off air.
All right. Well, I mean, we talked about this in the other podcast where
Yeah.
we talked about the previous one. It's like,
Yeah.
my opinion is you have to,
Yep.
so that you can demonstrate this will happen.
Yep.
And again, it's a non-emotional thing. It's just a de facto.
Well, and the other thing is,
act.
I think we should. So I'm gonna say this. This is the other really weird part.
How much do you think you got over time?
500,
500,
500 minimum cash.
Oh, minimum.
Plus
Cash.
cash.
Plus whatever groceries.
Right.
Oh, wow.
So, but here's the crazy part. This specific individual is part of a tribe in Canada,
Okay.
and they just got a check. He just got a check for like $150,000 and was still doing this, which really blows my
So he
mind.
already had
He
it
didn't-
when he stole the last time.
Yeah, he already had his money. I mean, so like it's a really kind of a weird like.
Do you think this is just like? Well, here's something that I've found that happens. Is, I might be having a good day, right?
Yeah.
And maybe I'll have 3-4 customers come in and they'll spend $1,500, right?
Yep.
And I'm not you, so it's just $1,500. And then people are like, wow, look at all this business John is doing. And it's
Yeah.
just like, I haven't made any money yet.
No, making money.
You know,
Sales don't equal
And I'm
profit.
wondering if it is a lot of seeing the deals being done,
Yep.
and really focusing on the big number.
Yep.
Not that it shouldn't matter. Like if the whole big number is all year 100%
Yeah,
profit,
but
it doesn't make
hey,
it
but
doesn't make any
let's be
difference.
honest. Do Apple employees walk into work and
Well,
go,
that's what I'm
they
saying.
have,
It doesn't
they have
matter, but
$40 billion in
Right.
cash. Oh, I can just leave with an iPhone.
But I wonder if that's what it is. It's like these guys are doing really good, and somehow it ... it becomes mine. Like I don't know what the ...
and actually,
is,
here's
but
the
it
here's the
becomes
weirdest part,
mine.
John. This is the thing I'm the most concerned about. Is this specific individual runs with some shady characters that I've always been concerned about.
Yeah.
Yesterday, a lot of times I'm not there at the very end of the day,
Okay.
and I happened to be there yesterday, and a few of his friends came into the shop. They're like, "Oh, is so and so working?"
Yeah.
And that just caught me off guard. Of like, "Oh, sorry, these guys like just coming in and getting like free product or like
fair enough, yeah.
So like, who knows how much more is
Yeah,
was,
I mean,
is,
especially when you're talking like singles, it's just like you can't keep track of $500,000 singles.
yeah, no.
I know at $5 cards, like I can't.
And they're all smart enough to not try to take the $15,000
Yeah, right,
card because
right,
I'll
right.
actually like.
Right. Where the hell is my?
Yeah, it's
well, yeah. I mean, one thing you alluded to the fact that before the podcast that had something to do with an employee, right? And then we were talking about the kid that works here, Max, and you're
What up,
like,
Max?
probably in a few years, he's going to be like, I found a better gig, and then I'll come to your store, and he'll be working there.
Nice.
It's like, you better not steal them from me.
Be like, come on down to Absolute. Isn't it a free market down?
Yeah, it's not a free market. It's communism up
This
in
is
there.
communism up
This
in
is a
Columbia Heights.
dictatorship in the store, and he's one of my subjects. No, but Max has been, well, you know, one of the things is, too, is, like, at his age, he hasn't had enough time to become bitter.
Right.
And we all three of us in this room have a certain level of bitterness.
Right.
Because things have happened. It wasn't fair.
Sure.
And people have done things. And so
And
I'm trying
you
to
think you're entitled to something that maybe
I'm
you
trying
didn't.
to do two things with Max. One, because this is not a normal job.
Yep.
I'm trying to make sure that he knows when I do something that's not normal and that in the real world, that's not the way it works, right? So, like, today he has some change. He says, hey, can I swap out my change? I go, sure. So I count it out and then pull it out. And I said, by the way, you can never do this anywhere else.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to count out a damn change and put it. But I go, you can never clerk yourself out. You can never exchange. You can never do. You always have to have another employee do that,
right.
Because I don't want to give him any bad habits, right? But I'm like, I'm too lazy to
checks and
count out
balances.
$6 worth of change,
sure,
you know.
For sure.
And then the other thing too is I want to be able to give him the ability. This is why him working here is so good for him. Is he really gets to see every part of how this store is run.
For sure.
And really get an opportunity to become the second in command.
Right.
Like in a couple of years, he's going to know everything about the store,
well,
even if he only comes in 15
To your
hours
point
a week.
on the check and balance, like every time, if you've ever been to a casino, you play blackjack or any sort of card game, every time you put cash in and they give you chips, they literally say cash in, and they have the floor confirm the money because how easy would it be to be like, oh, I'm giving you $100 chips, I didn't take any of your money in.
Yeah,
so like
now
somebody has to see
process,
it. There's a whole process
now,
to
this
like.
is called internal control. So what I did was very poor internal control. Now, I was 2 feet away from him when I did. You know, I looked over and like, why take a 20 out? Yeah. But I don't want to get bad habits. But like I'm very jealous of Max. Yeah. Like the situation he's in, where he can learn about the hobby.
He loves
learn
cards
about
already.
business.
Yeah.
Oh, he's very.
I had a kid yesterday
he's a
say,
football
"Hey,
kid. Like he like understands what the best offensive lines are."
Yeah.
Like, I mean, this isn't like, oh, I like that running back. You know, it's like, he goes, I like that running back because their offensive line is probably the third best in the league. Like, there's a little next level football analysis there.
Right.
So, very happy to have Max. I'm sorry to hear, like, because here's the thing, a growing business does need labor.
Yep.
And if you're constantly getting stolen from, you know, it's kind of defeats the point of labor.
I feel like I got catfished twice. At least it wasn't a date. It wasn't related to dating.
I find it weird that it has nothing to do with him needing money. That's the other thing
that's
too,
the weird part. Yeah, nothing to do with
it'd
money.
be one thing I feel like, well, we talked about the guy who, it's not your business, but same location.
Yep.
He had took on some stuff on consignment, and the line I remember that you told me was a customer comes in, asked him where his money was, and said, I need it more than you. We didn't even hide the ball, just like, I need it more than you. And I'm like, wow, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard in my life. Like, I stole this, but it's okay because I need it more. This isn't the way this works at all.
No. There isn't a point where it's like, because I don't need it, I'm not. It's no longer mine. We don't.
I can't even do the math.
but that actually sounds a lot like socialism, right? Because there's basically this point where it's like, I mean, it's like, oh, anything more than you than we think you need.
Well,
you don't.
That's the Marxist. That's
ideology.
Marxism, right? Because it's to each his ability and to each his need. So it just means like if you're the smartest guy in the country and you can cure cancer, you get the same as
the janitor
the janitor, or no, not even janitor. Janitor works hard. A guy who sits and plays video games all day because he doesn't want to work.
Sure.
Now I'm pretty sure you get shot.
Yep.
For not working, so it doesn't quite work out.
Yeah, they don't let it.
They pretty much shoot you. But I mean, I'm pretty sure China just goes, oh, okay, he died. I don't know how it happened.
Yeah, we don't know.
Like, I don't know what happened. He fell off that building. But it's like, nah, I want to incentivize the guy to cure cancer. I want to incentivize the guy to create the new software that makes millions of lives easier or faster or whatever.
It's actually a part of God's original design is that you are rewarded for your labor.
Yeah.
And if you
They
take
say that a lot in the
if
Bible.
you take
I'm not a
away,
Bible guy,
if you
but
yeah, I mean the Bible literally
Toiling
says,
and, yeah.
well, it literally says, the labor is worthy of his wages. It also says
No.
that God is a rewarder of those who diligently seek Him. Like
Yeah.
He actually wants natural incentive
Right.
to operate. That we're made to operate with incentive.
No.
And so if you take away incentive, you
Absolutely.
take away motivation, and then what happens is you have apathy and
Well, you have a
chaos.
lot of this movement to go after the 1%, and it's just like the 1% gives everybody the job.
Everything.
They either finance every project,
everything.
or they give everybody the job, and if you tax them 90%, let's say 99%, or whatever, or worse yet, they go, we're just going to take this lump sum of money because nobody should have more than that money. You are going to take away all of that skill set from the marketplace. Because why would I participate if I get nothing in return?
Right.
And I have a massive skill set. I'm just going to lay on a beach somewhere.
Yeah.
And the Soviets did that. So there's okay, now we're getting to a weird podcast, but this is kind of an important point. So
Yeah, for sure.
there was a bunch of landowners in the Soviet Union called kulaks.
Yep.
These were basically peasants who were able to have a small piece of land, and it meant that they were wealthy like this. They had this land, they worked the land, and they had a little bit extra resources, corn, whatever. I mean, I'm from Minnesota, corn.
Sure.
I don't know corn,
Wheat, whatever.
radishes, and then they had enough left over after they paid everything off to sell some and get a little bit extra money, some land, a donkey, whatever. Well, part of Marxism was that those were evil people. They're called kulaks. Well, they murdered all the kulaks. They just straight up murdered them, like dead.
Why?
They either put them in prison because they had stolen somehow.
Yep.
There's a lot of yada 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 and dot dot dot,
Sure.
and then therefore they stole.
Yep.
And so they not only was the land taken away from them, they were murdered for having it. And then this weird thing happened where I don't know the number, like 30 million Soviets starved to death because it was shocking that nobody knew how to run a farm after you murdered all the farmers. I mean, I would have thought that would have been an easy analysis, but that's what happened. That's why. So really,
They weren't even prepared.
the people in the
for that.
Soviet Union didn't die because they were murdered from a percentage standpoint. They died because they starved because you murdered all the guys feeding them.
Sure.
And so it's kind of the same thing. I mean,
It's truly cutting off your nose to spite your face.
absolutely,
Right? It's,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's see. That was kind of a weird turn. So K-Bid, man. So I am probably going to put the next K-Bid auction up tomorrow.
Okay.
But here's the deal. There's no more K-Bid auctions till August 24th.
Wow.
Because I look at the calendar and it's like there's no way I can run one without it overlapping into a card show. So what happens is I could do one more if I do it next Tuesday.
Okay.
And that's the last chance I got. Otherwise, it bleeds into Iowa and then National, and then 2 weeks later, Dells. What I can do is have enough time to set it up so that it's running while we're in Dells. So
Sure.
it'll end like the Tuesday after Dells.
So it's a busy stretch here. We're coming down the home stretch. I mean, next week is the weekend. Next weekend is the weekend of the 4th, and then basically,
I didn't know it was that quick. Okay.
So next Saturday is the 3rd. So the 4th is on a Sunday.
No.
Next Saturday is the 3rd, a week from Saturday, and then literally we go Bloomington, a week off, Des Moines,
No.
Chicago.
Yeah,
Because look,
3 weeks
so
away.
it's the 10th. The 17th is off, and that's the week I'm closing on my house and moving.
Okay.
So
Nice.
So I'll have a
Hey,
pretty
are you
busy
gonna
July.
invite me to your house? So,
Yes.
so
yes,
when
you guys-
when
we
me
can
and
record
Clint,
a podcast at the house. If you
when Clint and I
come down.
first met, it was
be
like,
amazing.
oh, I bought a house. We'll have you and your wife over. Never happened. Never
Do you
happened.
think I could have
So,
John here now? He
I-
doesn't leave the shop. He doesn't.
No, I had plenty of time.
He does. He have
Now
fun?
I don't
Okay.
know if I'll.
Yeah.
Now I think it'll be more like, hey, John, come over. I'm like, I'm busy.
Actually, what we should do is you guys could come down and we could go to a Twins game. Just hop on the late
Oh
rail
yeah,
and
there
just
you go.
boom, boom.
That's cool.
Then
Duck some drug
then
addicts.
Evan can have some drinks. He doesn't have to worry about driving. And Let's go, Evan. Let's go.
Do it.
So anyway,
that'll be cool. It's gonna be a fun summer. I think it's gonna go fast, unfortunately.
yeah. I mean, July is gonna be a blur.
I'll tell you
for
this.
me.
I'll tell you this. Like, I'll have the shop closed for 10 days.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, Des Moines, packing up again, setting up, packing up
driving,
again,
coming back,
going to Chicago. Yep. Now you got to come back to Minneapolis.
Yep.
It sucks. Going to Chicago, setting up again, coming back. Here's the thing, though. I'm gonna be like, how did the whole 10 days go by? Like, it's gonna go. It's gonna every national, the 2 nationals I've been to, and you've been to 4.
Set up at 3. Yep, because last year would have been our 4th.
Yeah, would have been 4. So 3, and I'm sure you get done. You're like, I don't remember doing anything. Like, I kind of remember a party on Friday.
It's literally one interaction to the next.
Yeah.
One sale, one deal, one trade to the next.
And other things.
It's actually exhilarating though. Like there's an adrenaline like around that week where I work way harder, but I don't feel like I'm working.
Well, I know,
like,
the whole time flies.
Yeah. And it's fun. It's actually really, really fun. I mean, I would attend the National if I was not setting up, and if I wasn't even a dealer as a collector, I'd love it. You know,
it's the greatest. If you like cards, and even if you just like any memorabilia, because there's big pennant dealers there's big game worn jersey dealers
for sure.
There's
I mean,
like
there's a guy
really high-end collectibles.
There's a guy who just has game used bats. There's a guy who just has all those autographed baseballs. You know, so
the guy from New York that you set up next to in 17. It was like nothing in his case was under $1,000. Like, I can't remember.
2 years later, I sold him some baseballs.
Oh,
signed
did you?
Ones, yeah.
Very cool.
So it's it's a treat, man. I'm excited for everybody to come down and see us, and just like it's just the camaraderie, the excitement, the buzz,
and I'm hoping now as a dealer I'll be able to make more connections with other dealers. There is something to be said where if you're walking around, they don't know who you are.
Yep.
But by having the booth, when that dealer comes in, they're like, oh, you do what I do. Okay, hey, what's up? I'm whoever.
Yep.
I'm from here. You get into a little different conversations than
for sure.
I'm a customer at your table.
I'm curious to see how prices rebound because we're still kind of on the way down on some stuff. Some stuff's still going down. Obviously, you have Devin Booker and a few guys going up simultaneously.
I don't know. I don't even know if I have a theory on pricing. I think what might happen is prices don't go up, but the volume traded goes way up that week. I mean, I don't think people are going there not to acquire.
No, well, and think about this. Let's say you had a $5,000 budget. Well, now you just can afford more, which is a good thing, right? I mean, if you had a budget for the National, and now all of a sudden that budget is getting you 40% more, you're happy.
Well, one thing I tell you is, like, I can set up my booth in theory, probably an hour and a half.
Yeah.
On early setup day, I'm just gonna be shopping. I'll go grab the car and set up, halfway through it, just to take a break from looking at cars. I'm just gonna go around and just start buying.
Yeah.
Like
see what kind of deals you can find.
Massive opportunity
for sure.
And so that's one of my plans there. And then,
hopefully we're gonna be doing some updated live stuff from Chicago.
So I need 1,000
subscribe.
TikTok. Now it's TikTok, but definitely subscribe on YouTube. So next year in Atlantic City, we can do some, YouTube specific. I think TikTok will be fun, but I think if we can have this whole setup right here, that's much better. I mean, the audio is not going to be as good, and the camera that we have eventually.
Let me ask you this: going to the National, if you were going, not as a dealer necessarily to flip, well, maybe even you can answer from that perspective too. But like, what players or specific cards are you targeting? Are there any that you've thought of?
I think Gavin Lux is a big opportunity. What's up,
Nice.
Evan? Shaking his head.
Nice.
I think Gavin Lux is a massive opportunity. He's a premium prospect who sells for nothing.
Yeah.
On a team that might win the World Series or at least be well in the playoffs.
And Vlad Guerrero right now is too high to be buying. Probably you should be almost selling. Don't you think?
Vlad been killing it. So I would have said Vlad, but now
it's-
Bobichette I still think is a good buy.
Yeah.
Like a real good buy.
What about football?
Football.
Do you like any of these quarterbacks like Jacob Eason, Jake Fromm, guys that like aren't playing and they were?
Well,
you know what I mean?
Okay, so this is a little different. This isn't like a specific player.
Yep.
But like you're digging in the dollar boxes, right? There's some dealers who give up right away. They're just trying to move whatever current product and they're blowing it out at the National. If you see Jacob Eason, not his base, but like you see some Jacob
Parallels
Eason scored a 50 for $1. Or for $2, yeah, grab it. Like
Yeah.
a quarterback out of 50 for $1, grab them all.
Yeah,
you
take 'em all.
And buy the basket.
And hope he gets traded, right? Or hope he right?
Some of you are injured. I mean,
Yeah, like Jimmy Garoppolo going to
Well, think about it this way. Ethan is behind Wentz.
right.
He got a tad of a injury history, right? And so you buy the basket, and so while the guys are super cheap, I mean, you can not even have to buy the base cards. You can buy just the parallels and the number stuff.
Yep.
And one thing, you're not buying as many cards, or you do pick up all the base cards because they're a quarter,
Right.
or 50 cents, or whatever.
And I also like I like picking up this time of year national as much football as you can get of guys that could have Herbert.
I'll bring something up about the national. I picked up 20 first Bowman Chrome refractors, right?
Yep.
All no names.
Yep.
All of them were no names. But I picked guys who got drafted in the first 3 rounds.
Yep.
And they was the first Bowman and it was a refractor, right?
Yep.
I was buying them for about 50 cents a card. 2 of them were Jared Kellenick's.
Nice.
And they're
Huge
long
cards.
sold now.
Huge
I think
cards,
I got 70 apiece for them.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, I spent
You
$10
had to wait.
on the basket.
Yep.
I stashed them, and then someone said Kellenick. I go, oh, let me see what I got. And I was like, oh, I remember these cards.
yeah.
I didn't know who Jared Kellenick was when I bought it 2 years ago. Like,
right.
I mean, I knew he was on the top 30.
So what
that's
you're
fine, but
telling
whatever.
people right now is you're targeting the best cards of a bunch of
Of a
potentials.
basket of potential players.
So whether that's Prism Silver basketball rookies, Bowman first Chrome refractors, Topps RC
and
rookies,
don't sleep on
parallels.
like a score purple to 25.
Right.
Just because the score is still to 25. I
Yeah.
mean, that guy blows up. That's a massive card.
100%.
Yeah, and so by buying a basket instead of targeting just like, here are my 5 guys,
Yep.
that one you got to be a lot better at what you do.
For sure.
You got to be a lot better. You got to go, okay, these are my 5 guys. One of these guys has to hit out of 5.
Yep.
Where I'm buying so cheap, I need 1 out of 20 to hit.
Yep.
And if I get 4 out of 20 to hit,
No
problem.
All I'm targeting, the main thing I'm trying to buy is I'm going to try to get a Jordan auto, a Bulls auto, and I'm also targeting more Bowman Brady rookies.
okay.
I think
so
that
you're going
Bowman papers-
established, higher end.
And I think, and I'm not even necessarily looking short term with Brady, but I think there is short term value to be buying Tom Brady this summer and then
You're
just
talking
selling
from the
him
market being
just
down
from the market
and then
being
like,
down.
okay.
And it also being the thing of like, if you want to sell it at a profit at 20% increase during the season when football starts, or if you want to see if they make a run.
You talk
or,
about if you spend $4,000 and it goes up $800 from the dollar amount, you're doing just fine.
you're doing just fine.
Even though the percentage isn't great. I got one last one for you, and I'm sorry we have to bring up this as a subject because I feel dirty just bringing it up. Jordan Love and A.J. Dillon. What do you think?
I like Jordan Love just because the Packers fan base is similar to like the Steelers in Dallas. They're just very loyal. If he only plays a season or two, they always are going to be buying their starting quarterback. We did it with Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah.
We did it with Christian Ponder.
Absolutely.
Right? I mean, we were buying Christian.
Yeah.
At the Bloomington show, people were selling Christian Ponder autos for hundreds of dollars.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't like him like I like Patrick Mahomes, obviously, or anything like that. But I like him.
I think you're right.
I actually think Justin Herbert actually might take a small step back this year.
Yeah.
And I think there is some potential for some other guys. I think Josh Allen's a big one.
Well, understand
Allen's got a
too
really
with
big
Jordan
one.
Love.
Tua
even though everybody can
Burrow.
kind of see,
Rodgers
Jordan
kind
Love may very well be the starter.
Yep.
But your casual collector
Yeah.
doesn't look at any of that, and he waits till not even waits. He's not waiting because he's not paying attention.
He's not paying attention.
And
right.
all of a sudden, it's like Jordan Love is the name the starter. He's like, oh, let me go get a rookie card of him.
I better go get one quick.
And those retail
Yes.
buyers, those
Yes.
casual buyers, they're the ones that really drive the market
You're
heavy on
preparing
guys
for
like
the
that.
retail buyer. Exactly.
absolutely.
Yep. You're getting.
I don't even want to call them retail buyers. Yeah, they're retail buyers. That's probably the right
It's
term
similar
for
to the stock market, right? Like we knew months before the vaccine, like there's going to be a vaccine and the economy's going to open up more. Who's going to benefit from it? And the same question with sports is who's going to benefit from a couple things. I'd say another big one is when Ben Roethlisberger retires.
Yeah.
The other one is who's going to be the Saints quarterback? Is it going to be Winston or is it going to be Taysom Hill, or is it going to be who they draft?
Now, here's the thing that you got to be careful with that kind of a situation is, and I actually like Winston more than most people do. I actually think he's a pretty good quarterback.
He just throws a lot of interceptions.
But here's the thing, like, they could both suck.
Yeah.
Like, just because Breeze had success with the Saints doesn't mean the Saints are going to.
No, but they got some good weapons. I mean,
it doesn't mean either one of those guys.
But when you're coming into a team that their defense is as good as it is, and you have Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara and some guys, Traquan Smith.
A lot of people think Kamara is going to take a big step. A lot of the fantasy guys think Kamara is going to take a big step forward.
I think my sleeper on the season is,
Yeah,
and this is not, it's not just related. I'm talking more the hobby. It's the New York Giants for two reasons. One, they're in the worst division in football, and they're the biggest market.
Yeah.
And so if Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley and Sterling Shepard
I sold Jones yesterday.
You know, Evan Ingram and some of these guys.
And they Slayton on that team still.
Yep, and they they drafted.
I really like Slayton a lot.
Well, and then they picked up the guy from the Lions last year, the receiver. I can't think.
Galladay. Or the guy like Galladay.
Like Galladay. And so literally, like, I think Saquon,
Galladay
and Daniel
Tampa,
Jones,
right?
And
no, Galladay.
No. Did Galladay? No, he's still with Lions. Yeah, he's still with the Lions.
Oh.
But the other guy, the other guy who left the Lions, small receiver, been in the league forever.
Sorry. It's Galladay and Godwin. I get them mixed up constantly. I can never keep straight who's who. I just need to see a logo.
No, I'm actually gonna pull it up because it's gonna bother me otherwise.
I've lost interest. How about you?
So anyway, the Giants. I think Daniel Jones, and you know it's interesting. I've actually seen Daniel Jones picking up steam, selling on eBay.
I sold one last week.
Yeah, we shipped some. So there's other people I think that are on that awareness of like the Giants.
Well, you can't discount
the
market. You can't discount that market ever.
No.
I mean, Jason Giambi sold at one point.
Right.
You know, and not that Jason Giambi's bad. It's just like he ain't great.
No, he's not.
You know, but he's a Yankee.
Exactly.
You know, and so there you go. All right, you got anything more for us?
No, that's it, man.
All right, thanks for listening, everybody.
Have a good week.